Now let's talk about verbs. A verb expresses an action or a state of being. Most statements in speech and writing have a main verb. Examples of verbs are to sing, to run, to eat, to be, to have, to paint, to intend, or to feel. As I said before, a verb is an action word. If I say, I am feeding grain to the birds, then feeding is an action verb. Verbs cover mental actions too. For example, I am thinking of feeding grain to the birds. Here, there are two verbs in the sentence: thinking and feeding. Now that we are clear on what verbs are, let's move forward. Verbs always have their objects. When I gave you examples of verbs at the beginning, like to sing, to fly, you would have noticed that those were not complete sentences. To complete those sentences, we will have to have objects with respect to the verbs to know how the action was performed. Let's see. Direct object. A direct object is a noun or a pronoun which receives the action of the verb. Look at the sentence again. I am feeding grain to the birds. To find the direct object, we ask the question, what was the verb done to, or what was fed? The grain was fed. So grain is our direct object. An indirect object is a noun or pronoun which receives the direct object. Now that we know the direct object, it should be easy to find the indirect object too, right? The question is, who is the grain being fed to? The answer is the birds. The grain is being fed to the birds. Therefore, birds is our indirect object. We can simply say that the verb flows from the direct object to the indirect object. I am feeding. I am feeding grain. I am feeding grain to the birds. Shall we look at another sentence? Tina gave me a book on my birthday. Gave is our verb. To know the direct object, we ask, what was the recipient of the action, or what did Tina give? A book. The direct object is a book. To know the indirect object, it will be to whom was the direct object given to? Me. The indirect object would be me. I hope this makes it clear. So, we see that there can be no sentence in English without a verb. That's all there is to verbs. Hope you guys had fun.